Hello and welcome to the Ill Communication, episode 7. We haven't actually announced that this is the Ill Communication, I don't think, since the first episode. So we're going to start doing that. So this is the Ill Communication podcast.
In actual fact, in the first episode, we never called it the Ill Communication. That one we came in about episode 3 or 4. So
brilliant. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, good. So how you been? What's been happening?
Yeah, I've been okay. It's been a while. I think maybe almost 3 weeks since the last podcast. You want an update in my ring?
I think what we should do is an update in the rings. Yeah, definitely. I'm now getting into the rings too, so I can give an update.
Yeah. You had a birthday, didn't you? That's right.
That's right. Yeah. So what have we been doing the last couple of weeks? Let's do the fact check, and then let's get on to our topic, which this week is
booze.
Booze.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess.
Booze and what?
Booze and basically this passion we have for booze in this particular part of the world, which is, why we have more liver cirrhosis than probably most places in the Western world. We're partial to
fact check number one.
Fact check number one. Can I just point out that I actually have a pad tonight?
Nice.
And a little pen.
It's only taking you It's only taking you 6 episodes to learn.
We'll have to cut that bit out.
I only cut my crap bits out, exactly. So your crap bits the end.
And can I also point out? So wait a minute, I'm going to write this down. Fact check 1: liver cirrhosis in Scotland. I have a challenge tonight. I am not going to yawn.
Good.
So it has been mentioned to me that I have a habit of yawning during these, so that is my ultimate challenge tonight, to try and not do that for the whole podcast. And we're going to stick to time. That's the other challenge.
Yes.
So,
which is definitely a challenge.
So a quick catch up on how we're doing, then we're going to do a fact check, then we're going to get straight into topic. Right, fact check 1: cirrhosis. Okay, yes, how have I been? Right, pretty good. Still closing my rings every single day. From the 1st of March, I'm now getting ring anxiety, which is
not just after a curry, boom boom.
See what you did there. Which is something that actually I've read about, that you start to become anxious over targets and goals that you set yourself. Do you see what I mean? And I've talked about this before, that actually I almost think I need to have a day where I don't close my rings to get over.
So how many are you? So you still not, since we last spoke, you've still not had a day where you didn't close your rings?
Correct.
So you that must be approaching 2 months?
Yep.
Is it 2 months?
2 months, yeah.
Wow.
No, 3 months. 3 months.
3 months?
Yeah.
12 weeks?
Since the 1st of March. Wait a minute.
And why do you want a break from that?
Because
interestingly,
I think it's good, right, when you use it as a driver, and I think that's really important. But yeah, look at that. Like, see, can you see my can you see my ring? Sorry. So there's the whole of March.
Just as well, this is Skype.
This is Skype. Yeah, this is really good for radio, isn't it? Yeah, I'm showing you. So look, yeah, all the way through May. So
nice.
Every single day. So it's good because it's obviously it drives me on, but it's just at the same time sometimes can be a bit of a stressor. And actually, I think it's dangerous when your goals become stressors, because then it might be pushing you on to do the physical stuff, but actually it's leading to making you anxious about something that is you've done in the first instance to avoid that type of scenario. Do you see what I mean?
So how? Yeah, I do. But so how anxious? Because I think too much stress is bad for you, but a little bit of stress is probably good for you because it motivates you along. So like, if you're doing a workout and you want to push yourself a little bit farther, you're going to be a wee bit anxious at the time, but you're not going to generally stress about it. Is this? It sounds like you're tipping a little bit.
No, yeah, I'm not
into you're anxious about it more generally, which is probably not a good thing. You probably should take a break if that's the case.
I'm not quite rocking in the corner yet. It's not
as you've been known to do.
As I've been known to do from time to time. We'll talk about that another day. But yeah, I just feel that there's been certainly a couple of days in the last 3 months where I've been like, oh no, it's near midnight, and I find myself kind of walking around doing loops around the house because I'm determined that I can't not close these. Yeah,
just to get the calories.
And it's interesting,
complete or whatever.
Because you remember I've spoken before about Wrong and Chatterjee, who I've listened to some of his podcasts in the past.
Yep.
He was on the Chris Evans Breakfast Show a few months back, and Chris Evans and Vassos Alexander are big runners, so they're always doing marathons, and they persuaded him to do the London Marathon. And he was on the show, so of course I think he probably felt under pressure and went, that's fine, I'll do it. And then he was on again. This is obviously all pre-COVID, before it was cancelled. And then they asked him how his training was going, and he said, like, pretty badly, because he's got an injury and his mum wasn't well and just other stuff got in the way. And he talked about that actually he said, I just made this decision. They went, do you know what? I can't do this, and I'm not going to get stressed out about it, because he said I was then getting to the point where I was getting really anxious about the fact that I'm not able to train because I'm injured, because I've got other stuff going on in my personal life, and then that was actually affecting my general health and well-being. And it is, and that's actually a kind of mindset, I think, for a lot of people, where they get so motivated by exercise. It's like an addiction, and like any addiction, you need to intervene from time to time. So maybe that's my challenge. I need to break my ring.
And also, I think you've hit on possibly two future topics, which is stress and anxiety.
Very good.
And what did you say the last one there? I forgot. Mental block.
Stress, anxiety. I think that was all I said.
No, stress and anxiety on the one hand, and then what was the last thing you said? Addiction. Yeah. Or addictive personalities, or being addicted to some things.
God, I'm full of material, aren't I? It's
brilliant.
Yeah.
Right, okay. You can just go home now.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
Right. So you've closed your rings, but you're getting a little bit stressed about it, so you need to keep an eye on that.
So I need to do that. I've been pretty much the same routine. I've got a little bit more into fasting, which is largely down to your influence. And actually, Lynn has really got quite into that as well, which really surprised me. But she's doing a bit of fasting just now too. I think particularly when we're working from home, it kind of makes it easier. So we've been doing that a little bit.
Interesting fact check coming up on that one as well.
All right, of course, yeah, that's true. And a bit of yoga, maybe not as much as I would have liked, but certainly doing a little bit more. Walking on days when I'm not running, and then again just doing every couple of days, probably 3 to 4 miles, and trying to do a big run at the weekends. But I went out last Friday, and well, as you know, and for listeners in this part of the world, we've had amazing weather over the last week. It's been really, really nice until possibly today. So I went out last Friday, and I think it was like 25 degrees, and I almost died. Honestly, I almost died. I was just like... the whole rest of the day I felt like crap, and I think it is difficult. It's that, particularly where we live, you're so used to running in the wet or quite, not.
It's cold, so your body doesn't need to work so hard to cool itself down. Yeah.
So I did 5 miles, but honestly, I thought I had to walk in part of it. Whenever I walk and I'm doing a run, it's like the walk of shame. Because you just feel that people are driving past going, he went out for a run and now he's walking, he's crap. so yeah, that's me. What about you?
So I have continued to intermittent fast. I always do that, so that's not a thing for me now. That's just my diet. I think I've said before. I have purchased a couple of slam balls. Have you heard of these?
No.
So these are kind of like, I've got a 12 kilo one and a 3 kilo one. They're filled with sand, so they're uneven. So it's kind of slightly awkward to lift, and you can slam them against the wall, slam them on the ground, and it's kind of all over body, total body exercise. And actually, Oscar really likes to take part in that. So me and him have been doing that a couple of mornings through the week. And I've coupled that with a bit of yoga in the morning, slam balls, and then yoga in the evening. I've kept that up religiously. I must be on. I need to check this, but I'm certainly more than 40 days in a row doing yoga. I'm probably between 50 and 60 now, and that's my goal. I'm not getting stressed about it at all, because I know even if I do 5 minutes, I've done my goal, which is just every single day doing yoga. And I'm really working on hip and lower back flexibility, because I think I've just totally ignored all of that for 42 years. And so I need to really, really work at it. And that, I think that's the I think that generates pain in my lower back. And when I work hips and do hip exercises you wouldn't normally do, bridges and side lunges and Cossack squats and things like that, it really helps. It's sore at the time, but it really eases everything off, which is good. So I'm doing a lot of that. I've actually followed a guy called The Strength Side. That's not his actual name.
I was going to say
he's on
Mr.
YouTube,
Side.
but he does. Have you ever heard of these folk? I think Conor McGregor does a bit of it, where you're kind of moving. It's kind of total body movement, and you're almost like doing animal flows. So they're getting really low to the ground and all. Because it looks really easy when you watch them, but see, trying to do it, it's really hard.
It's like paleo fitness.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So this Strength Side guy is a bit like that, and it's really quite fun to do. It's sort of, I guess it's a yoga, body weight, calisthenics kind of combo type thing where you're kind of always moving, and it's actually quite fun. So I've started doing a bit of that. That's
around that whole mindset of actually we were, as a species, we were designed to move and be on the move, nomadic.
Totally.
This kind of, like we're sitting just now on a seat in a completely alien posture from what our species were designed to be like. We were constantly moving, crawling, climbing, jumping. Miles
and miles a day. Also, squatting. So when you're sitting around the campfire or whatever, back in the day, you'd be squatting. You wouldn't be sitting on a chair, for example.
Interesting fact about that. Actually, when you poo...
Oh, I knew you were going to say this.
But it's true.
You're so obsessed with the toilet.
It is true. If you look at their colons, this is a fact check. So I'll write this one down. Fact check, poo, right? But if you look at how our colons are designed, they were designed for us to be pooing while squatting. And actually, because we use the toilet and we're at 90 degrees in terms of when we're sitting in the toilet, that then causes a bit of a kink in the colon. And actually, if you lift your knees up so you adopt a squatting position, your pooing process
just falls out.
It just falls out. It's just, I mean, it's just as well that I'm not squatting just now. There'd be one on the floor. So that's a fact check for next week. But we're not designed to poo in that way.
And not only that, once you get into the habit of doing those kind of squat, that also releases your hip flexors.
I thought you were going to say there that releases your lower bowels. So you've been shitting yourself.
It's just automatic. As soon as you get in a squat position, you can't help it. So we've done all that. I got the boys involved as much as possible, and then actually me and Cole have done a few runs. He's doing a bit of a 5K challenge with his football team. He got a reasonable time. Then went out with his mum, and she got paranoid because he flied away ahead of her on a 5K, and she started phoning him, and it completely put him off, and it screwed up his So he posted that old time, but then I said, right, we'll go out again the next morning. So we did this actually just on Monday there, and he wasn't up for it, but he did it anyway, and then got really into the swing of things, and he did it in 23 minutes and 2 seconds, which I thought was really impressive.
Wow.
I managed in 27 minutes, so he's 4 minutes ahead of me.
Is he getting quite into his
running?
And
he is a bit more. He's doing the bleep test. He needs pushed.
Yeah.
And he complains about it, but then when he does it, he enjoys it, and he gets a buzz out of being the. So he's jumped to number one in the team so far. So he gets a buzz out of that competitive edge and all that kind of stuff. So, but I'm trying to say to him, that's brilliant, well done. But what are you going to do next? Because if you want to be a footballer, you need to start thinking about, okay, that's good enough for this point in time, but now how to improve on it, rather than, because he's quite happy to kind of rest on that for a while.
Yeah.
So that's me, yeah. So I think pretty good. Oh, also, I had a birthday, as you mentioned. So I managed to finally, from Apple Series 1 watch, from God knows how long. When did Apple Watches come out?
So we both got ours in 2015. So
yeah,
so
5 years old.
Yeah, you remind me of me 3 months ago.
So 5 years old watch, finally upgraded. So got the Series 5, which is way better. I'd have to admit that. And I've actually been paying more attention to my rings too. Mm-hmm. And we, I guess, have now set ourselves a competition.
Well, no, sorry. Let's just qualify that.
I set a competition.
That we're having a competition, and actually, you're currently you're about 120 calories or points up in me with 5 days to go. So
nice. You
see how that goes.
The issue is you'll probably put in a big run, and I'll need to do like about 10 hours of yoga to try and keep up with that.
Yeah, but this is why it works for points. I don't think it's purely about calories. I think it's about how much you do as part of your daily targets, and your daily targets are higher than mine are and stuff like that. So we'll see. Anyway, but yeah, you're in the lead. You're currently in 1477. I'm in 1355. But yeah,
the way it should be, the way it's likely to remain.
So when you're challenging me at the same time to break my ring fascination, you've also challenged me to a competition, which is so you've passed the addict.
I've added stress, further stress. I think actually you weren't stressed until I added this competition on, and now you're stressing.
This is true. And we don't want to become Strava wankers, because that's I was talking to people at work about that. Strava wankers. That's a Twitter page, and it's quite funny actually. You know what I'm talking about? The Strava wankers.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Hey, check me out. Yeah. I can beat your time and all that sort of stuff. So
there's folk posting times that are better than the world record for like 5Ks and 10Ks and stuff. Yeah,
worth a follow on Twitter, Strava wankers. It's quite entertaining. Okay,
cool. So we've managed to maintain over the last 3 weeks, essentially, I guess, a reasonably good health and fitness routine, which is high five us. Well done.
Yeah. Diet, how's that been?
Diet, well, so I think the intermittent fasting's keeping me right. It ebbs and flows. I've managed to fast the last couple of weeks. I've managed to, through the week, go 19, occasionally 20 hours fast.
Wow.
Which means actually it's quite hard to eat a lot of calories after that. And because interestingly, when you do that, or certainly I've found when I do that, I eat less. I'm less hungry. I'll have a slightly bigger meal than maybe I would have at lunchtime, and then I'll have a slightly bigger meal maybe than I would have normally at dinner time, but I'll not snack so much, if at all, and I won't have something later on. And I just need to keep in my head, sometimes at maybe midnight, I'll be like, I'm getting a bit peckish, I could just have something. But then I need to think, well, actually, the last time you ate was 8 o'clock. You can eat now, but then essentially you're going to have to not eat till 4 o'clock in the afternoon. However, if you just hold off, drink a bit of water, distract yourself, I could, if I wanted to, eat it at midday or push on through. So I'm kind of playing these mind games with myself. Still too much chocolate and crisps, but I have cut down on that. Problem.
You were eating crisps before you came on.
Yeah, but actually, that's the first. That's the first I've had. It's just because we got some shopping delivered today, so
right.
the treats have come in. But I've been not bad at the weekend. That's when it goes a bit Pete Tong with like pizza and crisps, and we have tend to have a few drinks, and then you have more crisps or crap, and so it kind of spirals. I've tried to keep that to Friday and Saturday only. But yeah, booze is calorific, so that's not ideal.
And we'll come to that.
So not too bad. I don't want to beat myself up too much about it.
Yeah.
What about you?
I've been okay. Yeah, I think like I said at the start, a bit of intermittent fasting. I've been trying that. I think I've eaten fairly healthily, but again, at weekends it's kind of gone out the window a little bit. I have actually had Ben and Jerry's ice cream the last couple of weekends. And that's something I never normally buy.
Is that your weekend treat?
I just think, we bought it for the first time in God knows how long. And I was like, well, this is so nice.
But you just on that, are you continuing to stay vegetarian?
Yeah. I mean, pescatarian. So,
pescatarian,
vegetarian days, pescatarian days, vegan days from time to time. I haven't touched cow's milk in months, but again, I'm still having like olive spread, and which obviously does contain some dairy, and I've just mentioned ice cream, so cheese. Yeah, so
there's some dairy in ice cream, I think.
This is a bit. So I don't know. I try not to label it as such. I just try to reduce my consumption as much as possible. So yeah, that's. Yep. But yeah, no, I've been all right. I've been fine, and work's been all right. So it's kind of again working between home and at work from time to time, making my own lunch, which also helps, I think, because you avoid the temptation. Look, particularly just now in my building, it was like, hey, you're the NHS, and we all think it's great that you're in work, so we're going to make everything in the canteen half price. And you're like, oh. So, you've got money on your card and it lasts forever. So, I see there's muffins that I might now have with my coffee. So I've been avoiding that temptation quite a bit. But no, it's all good. So, we're 20 minutes in. We need to move to fact check.
Just before that, I think just in terms of, have you experienced any difference with trying to? Because I guess what we're doing right now is we're accommodating homeschooling, trying to keep the kids entertained during the day whilst working, and staying fit and trying to have a healthy diet, etc. How you found that? Just 2 minutes.
So homeschooling is starting to die a death. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Lynn's really struggling with that just now. She's been working quite a bit as well. She might actually be back into work next week. So she'll be working from home, but she might have to go to base, which then means kids are either going into the hub, or she might actually take them with her, which is another thing because her school's a hub. So there is that. The kids, I think the kids now, they can get out a bit more is perhaps helping. And you're now, because a bit of lockdown's been relaxed to a certain degree, so you can actually go out and go to places to a certain extent and see people, and just a change of scene more than anything else, I think has made a difference. But yeah, I think it's challenging. It's still challenging, and I have it way easier than she does because I get to escape to work 2 to 3 days a week, whereas she's here all the time. So it is what it is, man. You're just used to it now. But
I think you just kind of adapt a bit. We are much less strict on the timetable that we had set. We were trying to keep quite religiously at topics and stuff. We're kind of they're maintaining English and maths, or literacy and maths, because they can do the sum dog and various things. We've got Shona's cousin's a teacher. Actually, she's been great. She's been doing a couple of days doing Cole with some algebra, so he's kind of prepping for going to high school.
Of course,
which is good. And then we had some Lego. We bought some Lego, but Lego's expensive.
Oh, it's extortionate.
So we'd got a few Lego sets. We've not done that again. But they enjoyed building that, so that was our kind of creative bit. But yeah, that's tended to fall away. But to be honest, the boys have been great in looking after Theo.
Yeah.
And doing more chores. So hey, we've kind of been fairly relaxed about that. But yeah. I guess that's been quite challenging, just trying to keep them entertained, doing something a bit different when you're just pretty much around the house or going an occasional walk or run, and they're not that interested in going to walk.
Yeah, it's hard as well when like you're both trying to do a bit of work and then you're both trying to work to a timetable in terms of meetings and stuff, and kids just don't, and we've talked about this before, the kids come in and out of the room while you're on calls and all that sort of stuff. But
totally.
But actually, one thing I did get very quickly, because we've already exceeded our, we're splitting this podcast into thirds, so it was 20 minutes and catch up, 20 minutes and fact check, and 20 minutes on the topic. But I bought a little laptop stand because I sit here all the time. I don't have a luxurious outhouse like yourself as an office. So I'm sitting in the corner of a bedroom and my back was killing me from just looking over this laptop. And I've been trying to connect the laptop to the Mac for ages, and it won't work. I bought lots of cables, it just won't happen. 17 quid, Amazon. This little laptop. 17. 17.
Right.
Amazon. Laptop basically sits almost vertical with the screen up, so it's eye level. Oh, brilliant. Man, night and day. And it's just such a simple little thing that makes such a difference. My back was killing me for weeks and weeks.
Same with links. I think I need that. I'm actually working off my computer, so it's kind of the monitor's raised a bit, so it's not too bad.
Yeah, I'll do that.
I managed to I got a stand for my iPad, so I'm kind of working off a slightly different thing. But when I get a laptop sorted from my work, I'll need one of them.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm doing. So I'm using that, and I'm just using the wireless keyboard from the Mac, and it works a treat. So no, can't complain. It is what it is, and at least now we're able to get out a little bit more until the second wave hits us, and then we'll be right back there again.
Yeah.
So, but I think in this country we're being a little bit more cautious than we are in the rest of the UK. And where we've become the real sick man of Europe. So,
oh yeah, completely. Yeah, the stats are shocking. But
anyway, that's a topic for another day.
That's another topic.
Right.
So, fact check.
Okay. Do you want me to kick off?
Go first. You go first.
Right. So, in the last episode, we were talking about masks and obviously the recommendation that you should go out, face masks or face coverings, and we were saying that it's kind of become a normal thing in our culture. And if this had happened this time last year, like you walked into the supermarket and you saw someone in a mask, you would just be horrified. Mm-hmm. And actually now it's it's just the way it is. Mm-hmm. And then we talked about the fact that in the Far East this has been quite a normal cultural thing for a long period of time. And actually any time you'd be exposed to someone wearing masks out and about would usually be at airports, because that's when you would encounter people coming in and all the rest of it.
Yep.
So you'd ask the question, when did this become a thing in the Far East, this wearing of masks, right? So apparently, and this is written in a way that reeks of Wikipedia, that
it wasn't actually.
Was it? Okay, well, I'll let you off. So following the Spanish flu, and the Spanish flu, of course, was the 1918 pandemic.
Yep.
Fact check for next week. Then there was an earthquake in Kanto, and correct me if my pronunciation's wrong, because I know you are up in your Japanese, that filled the sky with smoke and ash for weeks. So this is all around about the 1920s. So you've got the flu pandemic, and you've got this problem with this volcanic eruption, and what's the word I'm looking for in the air? Pollution, all that sort of stuff.
Poor air quality, whatever.
So they just started to do this as a way of life, and it's also a kind of courtesy type thing. So actually, the most people you see in the Far East who are wearing these masks tend to do so as a preventative measure for other people rather than themselves, which goes into what we talked about last time around that masks are really there to protect others from you. If you wear the surgical mask, it was to protect the patient from the surgeon, not the other way around. And that's exactly why they've always worn these masks in Japan. I've got the cold. What we would do in this country is you would still, before coronavirus, bash on,
sneeze all over,
go to work, sneeze, cough, not give a shit, just think, hey, I'm great because I've turned up at work, and actually then you just give it to everyone else. But that doesn't happen there. They're a bit more respectful. And in addition to that, in the 1950s, when you then got kind of industrialization, air pollution increases, population increases, it all just grows and grows. And they spend 230 million per year on face masks, which I imagine that in the year 2020 will become small potatoes for some countries with PPE costs. And that tradition moved from Japan into China, Korea, and has become something that really most of Asia tend to exercise.
Did you say most of the Asia?
No, most of Asia. Most of Asia. You can check that when you rewind back. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. You've written something right at the end there that says
it could be that it's also linked to the. I think it's. Did you say Taoism? Taoism,
I think.
Taoism.
Fact check.
Which, because China doesn't really have a religion. I think fact check is what's religion of Japan. They tend to, it's like Confucianism, Taoism, but general Eastern philosophy.
Buddhism, is it not?
There's Buddhism as well. Yeah. That might be the predominant one in Japan, but that's definitely a fact check. Right. But breath and the power of breath and chi is seen as being central to good health, and therefore being mindful of that, and it could be kind of linked to that. But I think that's a bit conjecture.
So it must be Buddhism and stuff if it's all about mindfulness and the breath and all that, which I love a bit of that. Okay. Next fact check. Do you want me to go with this one, or do you want to
go for it?
Okay, so the next one was about.
You do the next couple.
Right, I'll do the next couple.
There's kind of astronomy related ones coming up, I think, and you just love astronomy.
Oh yeah. Why have we suddenly gone American in the last year? I don't know. Welcome to our American listeners. Where was our accent from? We're really not sure. Okay, next one was around bad backs, which we've also mentioned tonight around the laptop conversation. And why does this tend to happen to people about our age? Because, you don't remember these conversations in your 20s. Oh, my back's killing me. But suddenly about our age, when you get to late 30s, he pretends, early 40s, that this people tend to talk about this sort of stuff. So why is it that happens? And it's unclear why that particular age range is there. It does tend to happen from age 25 upwards. Doesn't appear to be a genetic link or a particular load link. I guess perhaps you could argue that people with more physical jobs might be maybe more or less prone to back problems.
Yeah,
there's a fact check for next week. But yeah,
I think the problem with back is back such a common ailment that it's really, really hard, I think, to check these things because there's no one really knows.
Yeah,
and I think it might be all quite individual.
I actually think, now you think about it, that probably people who, if you're working on a building site laying brick, you will be using your back muscles on a much more frequent basis than you and I sitting at a computer, right? So actually, again, it goes down to posture and not moving and not using these muscles. And every time you end up doing your back in, it's always usually to do with you've strained a muscle that doesn't actually get
used enough. Yeah.
So probably actually, well, let's try and check that for next week. But I would probably put money on the fact that, well, I'll tell you what, my brother-in-law used to be a brickie, and I don't ever remember him saying he had a bad back. So there's your fact, right?
It's proven.
Okay, next one, a bit of astronomy. Neil likes to look at the moon. Out of interest, full moon tomorrow night, folks, June the 5th. No, it's June the 4th. Sorry, Friday, full moon, June the 5th, yeah. Which is apparently the strawberry moon.
What? Out
of interest. Tomorrow night, June the 4th, is the best night to see Mercury because it's, I think, at closest position to the Earth in its orbit. So anyway, that was an aside. But what we talked about...
What?
Patrick Moore here. We talked about the Voyager probes, and this was...
Patrick was slightly more handsome, I think.
Patrick was more handsome, slightly heavier. I mentioned slightly. And probably the same amount of hair. But anyway, on his head. So, can't actually comment on the amount of hair in Patrick's body. We'll maybe not try and fact check that.
Where are you going with this? You've
no
gone
idea.
down a total rabbit hole.
Sorry. Right, back to the subject. Pale blue dot, Carl Sagan, and we were wondering where did that come from. It was a fact check from last week. Pale blue dot was taken by the Voyager probe, and then we said, where are the Voyager probes now? Because, this was, I think, 1990s or whatever, I can't remember from, we can check back. So basically, there's two Voyager probes. Voyager 1 is currently 13.8 billion miles away, travelling at 38,000 miles per hour. And Voyager 2 is 11.5 billion miles away, travelling at 34,000 miles per hour. And what's quite interesting is that Voyager 1 was launched in August 2012. Oh no, sorry. Voyager 1... Oh, I'll have to edit that out. Voyager 1...
Right. You're great with the astronomy thing.
We'll restart that. Right, okay. Because I was reading the bit below it by mistake. The question was, when did Voyager 1 leave the solar system? And the answer, my friend, is August 2012. Right? So
yes.
Exactly when just after my second son was born, Voyager left the solar system. And Voyager 1, would you know, was actually launched 2 weeks after its twin Voyager 2. So Voyager 1 was launched second, even though it was called Voyager 1. Do you have any idea why that might be?
If you're still with us, listeners, after all that. Oh, we got there, Neil. We got it out. We got the fact.
I haven't explained why they did it the other way around. And the reason they did it the other way around is because Voyager 2 is in a faster trajectory.
Yes.
So there you go. And August 2012 is when it left the solar system, but September the 5th, 1977 is when they were launched, which is, 7 months after I was born.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to think of myself as Voyager.
1 or 2.
Doesn't really make a difference, to be perfectly honest. But, well, actually, Chris Martin was born 2 weeks after me. So maybe I'm Voyager I'm Voyager
What
2, and he's Voyager 1.
What's Chris Martin got to do with you?
Well, I just always remember that he was born 2 weeks after me.
You and Chris, you're like that.
So maybe we should actually tag Chris Martin in this podcast.
We'll get Chris Martin as a guest in the show because you two are such busy mates.
Well, I'm just saying, if
You
two
call
men,
him up. You call him up.
if two men were to symbolise the Voyager probes, it's me, Chris Martin, and we've both left the solar system, and one was lodged 2 weeks after the other one.
I think I might have to edit this entire section.
I think you possibly will. So anyway, they're now in interstellar space. They've left the solar system, and they're the furthest man-made objects ever to have left this planet. Incredible.
Interstellar, good movie. You seen that?
Great movie, yeah.
Great movie. And Neil deGrasse Tyson, famous astronomer, is broadly in line with the physics of it. Yep.
Oh, right. I remember watching that because they got a lot of physicists to kind of comment on it. Some of the physics is a bit mind-blowing, actually, during that film. And it's got
but they tried to...
Matthew McConaughey in it, doesn't it? That was a
What was that Matthew McConaughey doing I've God knows what kind of accent?
Matthew McConaughey. Yeah. I thought that was quite accurate.
Right.
What the hell was that?
Let's
right, take
let's
over. You go.
Next fact. Okay, so we were talking about intermittent fasting, and we asked, does intermittent fasting have a positive impact on the amount of calories people consume? Is that why it helps with maintaining a kind of healthy diet and reducing, I guess, your fat levels? I couldn't find anything scientific in this, but I think there's a lack of scientific studying around intermittent fasting generally, I think. So nobody, whilst there is some definitely on intermittent fasting, I don't think anyone's tested whether or not your actual consumption of calories is higher or lower when you happen to do it. And because most people are doing it just off their own bat. There's a lot of opinion-based articles that says it does because you simply have less, because you have less of an opportunity to eat, your calorie intake is likely to be less. And I'd say from a ad hoc kind of my own experience basis, I think that typically holds true, but I can't find anything definitive on it. So I think that's inconclusive.
So it's all about the time, the fact that you're reducing your eating window and you're fuller for that period, and then you go, time up.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it seems to be. Although there's no science behind it. Now, because intermittent fasting itself does a lot of other things, and you asked the question, what does fasting do at a cellular level? So I found an article based on, I think it was modular or cell modular or something. It's Molecular Cell magazine. It was a specific
modular cell, molecular cell, modular magazine.
It was one of these science publications that's based on cells. You should know all about it. I thought you.
Well, it's not Cell. If it was Cell, I'd get excited. That's quite a good
okay. It was
paper.
maybe Cell. Yeah.
All right.
Maybe
Okay.
Cell. So
well,
yeah.
I doubt it, but let's go. Right.
So anyway, what it said is fasting has been practiced for millennia. So some way, shape, or form, we've always done some type of fasting as a human race. Whether that was because we couldn't find food, which we've talked about before, or out of religious religious belief systems or habit. It's a variety of reasons. Only recently have scientists started to look at the cellular level response that comes from fasting, and it seems to reduce oxidative damage and inflammation. It optimizes the energy metabolism in your body, and it bolsters cellular protection. So it has a whole range of benefits at the cellular level, which is interesting. You're going to enjoy this next one. In lower eukaryotics, you love that. You can explain what a eukaryote. Yep. Chronic fasting extends longevity in part by reprogramming metabolic and stress-resistant pathways. In rats, intermittent or periodic fasting seems to protect against diabetes, cancers, heart disease, and neurodegeneration. While in humans, it's been shown to help reduce obesity, hypertension, asthma, and rheumatoid arthritis. So therefore, what this study has found, I think this is kind of meta-analysis, fasting has the potential to delay aging and help prevent and treat diseases while minimizing side effects caused by chronic dietary interventions, i.e. it's really easy to do. You don't need to add, it's not additive, you don't need to try and force yourself down a certain dietary restraint, and therefore and it has all these benefits. So I actually think if you couple intermittent fasting with a proper sleep pattern and a reasonable amount of exercise per day, so 30 minutes to an hour, you would absolutely nail the fitness thing. That's my thing. The problem is actually sticking to it.
But that's
my problem is sleep. I'm still not getting enough sleep.
Yeah, but that's back to your pillars of health, isn't it? So you're just advocating that it's diet, it's exercise, and it's sleep. So yeah,
but interesting. Sleep seems to have a very similar positive impact on a whole range of metabolic processes, cellular processes, etc. So does intermittent fasting. Interesting, and that's the first time I've actually read that. I thought intermittent fasting definitely has a positive benefit, makes you feel more alert actually when you start doing it. Whereas this seems to show that there's lasting benefits of doing it as well. So there you go.
So did you just say there that intermittent fasting has a positive effect on your sleep, or they're both doing?
No, they're both doing very similar. So if you sleep 8 hours, or if you give yourself a sleep opportunity of 8 hours, your body's repairing itself and doing all sorts of positive things that you don't realise. You then couple that with intermittent fasting, you're going to boost that even further because it's kind of doing similar things. So there's a kind of fact check there. As I wonder if there's any studies done where you combine both intermittent fasting and sleep versus someone that doesn't get as much sleep and does intermittent fasting versus someone, you know what I mean?
And if there's a relationship between the two,
and does it exponentially improve if you do the both, or is it just kind of the same? Or
right, I've got that as a fact check.
Because I think I'm probably just cancelling out with my lack of sleep. So I'm getting boosted benefit from the intermittent fasting, but I'm cancelling it back out again with lack of sleep.
And do you know what we need to talk about in a future podcast? Dreaming.
Dreaming?
Yeah, because it's just...
yeah, man.
No, it's just... I had quite a vivid dream the other night, and I was just thinking about... Do you know when you have a dream and it's like someone says something in a dream that surprises you? And you're really taken aback by what's said or something that happens. You're kind of like, oh, and it's done in a way that it's delivered to you like it's a script. Do you know? So your mind has created an artificial situation that then has someone telling you something.
So I see what you're saying. So your mind has created this story, but your response to this story that you've already created in your own mind causes you to be surprised.
Yeah. It's just...
See, that's kind of... It's got to be an interplay between subconscious and conscious. Yeah, that would be an interesting topic. I'm pretty sure we should get some of this stuff. I think we're starting to get into territory where we really should get a guest that's an expert in this stuff, and we can ask all these questions.
Are you trying to imply that we are not experts in all areas that we talk about? This is the benefit of the fact check. So that's definitely one for another
fact check is almost foolproof, but yeah.
Right.
Okay, the last one. Did we spill? We as in humans spill tardigrades, which we talked about as being a particularly robust organism, a microscopic organism, somewhere in space. And apparently, yes, an Israeli lunar lander. Sorry, I'll say that again. An Israeli lunar lander. So one spaceship that's going to land on the moon. In case you didn't know what a lunar lander was, actually did crash on the moon. I'm not quite sure what it was going to get or do, but it crashed on the moon.
Can I clarify something about this fact check? Because I did read this one and I thought, okay, right. Are you saying that the rocket that delivered the lunar lander crashed on the moon?
No, the lunar lander that was, I guess, going to land on the moon.
Was an astronaut driving it at the time?
No, remote. It was a remote one, obviously.
All right, okay.
Apparently it crashed. It had some tardigrades on board. I'm not quite sure why.
Was that a deliberate?
I think they were probably bringing again, this is on our fact check for next week. I think they were probably bringing tardigrades up into space to see how they reacted in space, even though it
Zero
was in
gravity
a ship.
and
Yeah,
stuff
agreed
like
zero
that,
gravity, and possibly even just put them out. But they wouldn't have just let them loose on the moon to see what happened, whether they were actually almost indestructible. But actually it just spell out. So potentially you've got a bunch of tardigrades that are happily living on the moon right now, or they might have just died. But we don't know this. But they did actually
evolved
spell.
into a
That might have been
master
how the
species.
human race started billions of years ago.
I've often thought that you look very tardigrade. There's
You
definitely
can't
a
even say
similarity
tardigrade.
there. No, I can't. What did I say?
Tardigrade?
Tardigrade. Right.
So that's the fact
done.
check done. I think that was a good fact check this week.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So on to our topic for the last 15 minutes.
The demon drink.
The demon drink. So I'm not quite sure how we start this, but I guess COVID-19 and the associated lockdown for me certainly started me off. I think I improved on this, but I certainly started drinking more.
Yeah.
Not out of. I didn't think about it too much. It was almost like, because you knew you weren't going to go out and drive, or you weren't going to go out anywhere. It was like, I'll just have a beer.
Yeah.
Shona, do you want a gin? And then suddenly you're like through the week, you're just going, I'll just have some wine, and you just start, and it becomes more of a daily thing.
Is Shona not allowed to drink your beer? Is it? It's very stereotypical.
Yeah, she doesn't like beer.
All right. Okay.
So I found drinking more, but then I was kind of conscious of it, I think, after a few weeks, and so started thinking, right, I'm gonna try and stick to just the weekend, which
so when you said that you were drinking more at the start, you're talking school nights.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
not a lot, but yeah, just on and off.
Okay.
I wouldn't, maybe not every night, but yeah, definitely more than I was doing. I would have done before, 100%. And it was more again because you're not getting up quite as early because you don't have commute. You're not going to drive, so it was kind of, hey, it's a bit more. Yeah, I don't have to think about those things, so therefore, why not? But I've pulled myself back from that. What, you similar or?
Yeah, no, I think so. So we, again, before all this, I would never have a drink during the week unless I had a completely shitty day. Mm-hmm. And even then, if I ever was to do that, like I'd never. Sometimes you just want a beer, but it would very rarely lead to, say, more than one or two. It wouldn't like, all right, I'm going to go and get pissed. I can't actually ever remember being in the house on my own being pissed, right? I guess when you start to drink, when you start to drink in the house on your own to a level that you're getting pissed, that's maybe indicative of a problem, right?
Yeah.
But certainly, there was definitely a few times midweek where like, do you want a drink? Yeah, why not? And then I was doing things, I've talked about this in the podcast before, like going, actually, now I've started getting online orders, I should just order like a crate of beer. Because whereas normally I would never go and buy a crate of beer if like you guys were coming over or we're having something at the house, I would very rarely just have beer in the fridge for me. And that's probably the bigger change. So much so, actually, it's quite timely. And I sent you a picture of this earlier on, that today my Brewdog home delivery arrived because I was sitting looking at all these things and going, actually, I really like craft beers, I really like nice beers. So I'd been on the Brewdog website, I'd seen some sort of deal, and I thought, right, I'm going to order some. So I got 48 cans of Brewdog arrived today. I must have looked like such a...
And they're gone already?
Alcoholic. No, they aren't. They're in the fridge. All different types of flavours. And I thought, well, that'll last me a long time. So that'll be interesting to see how long 48 cans will last me. I suspect quite a while. Yeah, so definitely drinking more. And again, I think...
Still? Even now after being in lockdown for last...
I think same as you. You start to go, actually, this is not a particularly healthy habit. But weekends, I would say Friday and Saturday I have been drinking both nights every weekend probably since this happened. So,
and what was your kind of realization or thought process to cut back? Because some folk, that we know will drink every day, and think really not much of it. Was it a hey, this is bad for my health for the alcohol? Was it a calorie health kind of, oh, this is I'm consuming too many calories here, or geez, I'm not getting good sleep, or did you just kind of generally think maybe not?
I think probably the latter, actually. So rather than, I very rarely, to be perfectly honest, I very rarely drink and go, oh, that's so calorific, or do you know, it's not something that I ever actually think about. But I've always been very mindful of alcohol for personal reasons, I guess. You know what I mean? Better than anyone else, and I'm not going to go into detail about this. I might do at some point in the future, but you know, my dad has a bit of a problem with alcohol and has done over a long period of time, and that's something I've grown up with, that a kind of dependency on alcohol, and I remember that whole cycle of, for me, it was a normal perception for your dad or someone in your family to go to the pub every single night, to drink 7 days a week. Yeah. And it's only as you get older and you kind of reflect back and you think about the choices that must have been made. Actually, you think about this podcast, it's the same type of thing. The choices that we're making at this time in your life that can either take you in one direction or take you somewhere else. I'm always been very mindful of that. And that's even why still to this day, if I am having a drink, unless, as I said, you know, we've got company over and you're having a social event and stuff like that, that I will very rarely have more than a couple. I don't know if it's an inbuilt kind of, nah, I'm not going to go there, or if it's actually just a fear of, because there is that too. You then think, if there's a dependency in my family, or you know, for that, am I predisposed to potentially be susceptible to that? So you kind of maybe stop yourself more than you normally would. I don't know, is the answer, I guess.
It's kind of like, I guess it's, this would be another, the topic of addiction would be an interesting point, which is, I think there's certain personalities potentially. I need to look up more on addiction, but you know, I think there's certain people are more prone to addiction, I think. Yeah. I don't know if that's environmental or genetic, maybe a bit of both. But I've never felt I have a particularly addictive personality. I mean, I don't feel like I would be addicted to things very easily.
Yeah.
So it never really, you know. So for example, with alcohol, I guess I'd be always. I'd never feel fearful that I couldn't not have a drink. You know, like I could quite happily go for weeks without a drink. I choose to at the weekend have one. Yeah. But it doesn't. It's not like I can never feel really I want a drink. Do you know?
And I think I'm a bit like that as well. That you know, that I don't. I think if I can choose to have a drink, and that's fine. But there are times certainly where I could feel myself going, oh, I could really go a drink. Mm-hmm. And then I think when you get that thought into your head, that it's maybe just, I don't know if it's just you're trying to protect yourself from what that might lead to. Mm-hmm. And actually now I reflect on it does feel quite a strange thing when you start to talk about it, because I've never really talked about it or thought about it. But yeah, there are definitely times where I go, oh, I could really go a drink. And then I go, oh, what do you mean? You know, it's the inner voice said, what do you mean you could go a drink? You've got a problem, son. You know, it's kind of like, I don't know. And I've never, I mean, I can honestly say I've never got to the point where it's actually become like a dependency, like it's been a problem for me. And I'm a cheap date as well, as you know, because it doesn't take me much to get pissed, and then usually I'd puke and I'd know when to stop. But I think it is what it is. And now I'm starting to worry the fact that I've just bought 48 cans and we've just finished this podcast. And I may go out and drink the lot of them, and you'll find my corpse lying in the garage tomorrow morning.
But I think that thing is, if you're constantly thinking about when you can have a drink, then you probably want to think about whether that's you might want to have do you have a problem with it?
Put it this way, right? I think certainly I could give up drink much easier than coffee. I think I would, for me, caffeine addiction probably is much more of an issue to me than.
Yeah, it's funny that and it totally is, but I never think about caffeine as addiction. But if I don't have a cup of coffee, I'd get a sore head, I think.
Yeah, and that's it. So I remember I've done like things before where we talked about this before, like the C9 cleanse and stuff, and that's a fasting, 2 days of fasting, and then you introduce small amounts of food, and you had no coffee for that entire time, and it was hell. It was absolute hell. You know, I felt like I was going through cold turkey, and so I think I would struggle to give that up well before drink, because I don't have the same dependency. I don't, if I woke up in the morning and went, I need a fucking drink, then I think then you'd all be kind of making an intervention. But it's what we choose though, isn't it? Because again, it's like society, we've normalised the fact that it's okay and it's perfectly normal for you to have a shot of a stimulant in the morning, but actually we think it's bad for you to have like what is alcohol depressant? Is that it? It's
and also the worst drug in terms of addiction, in terms of the carnage it can cause, just for folk drink driving, abuse to their own bodies, heart disease, blah blah blah, abuse. Do you know but that's legal, so it's okay.
We've normalised it, and it's only when you take a step back, it's like it's like the whole drugs thing in general, isn't it? Everything's a drug, whether it's a good drug or a bad drug, a pharmaceutical versus a narcotic. It's like good drug, bad drug. Who decides?
Exactly.
So I think I have been drinking a bit more, and I do like it when we all go out as a. And it doesn't. Let's be honest, it doesn't happen very much anymore. That if our wives ever choose to listen to this podcast, this is a plea. Please let us go out. Please. It's good when you go out and you can kind of let loose and have a few beers with your pals. But even when we go out, we don't get crazy. I mean, we tend to actually. This shows everyone our age demographic. We now think what's the best way to do it is for us to go out on like a Saturday afternoon.
So you're back tucked up in bed nice and early. So
we're not out too late.
Because it's like struggling with a hangover is just a nightmare just now, particularly with young kids as well. That's just you just don't want to go there. Well, so I find if you add up the amount of calories involved in alcohol, like if you do it in MyFitnessPal, you can easily crack out 1,500, 2,000 additional calories just without. It's and it's just liquid, so it doesn't feel like you're eating anything. Do you know? So you don't feel full or anything. Plus, I do feel. Do you not feel? I feel like it's harder to get a breath when you have, particularly with wine for some reason. It seems to rest on your lungs. I don't know if there's maybe that's the. Suppressant, COVID, but maybe that's the depressant part of alcohol that starts to just I definitely feel it there. Maybe that's a fact check. So it sounds like we've got we had a slight increase in our booze intake, but we've got it back under control. So I wonder what
I think so.
How others will be dealing with this. I certainly think there's definitely you see the memes on Twitter with like your bin collection day and your cycle day, and it's just filled with bottles.
And it's not all Calpol.
No.
So, I know it is. It's I think it's a funny thing, isn't it? Because alcohol, particularly, again, go back to the whole point of doing this podcast in the first instance, is a big problem for us in this part of the world. And we will fact check that liver cirrhosis claim. Yes. But it's certainly something that gives us major issues in Scotland in particular.
Yep.
And there's a culture of it, and I think that's part of the problem. I mean, it's like and probably a culture. I was going to say actually a culture that kind of was very much sort of blue collar, but actually it's probably not, because as much as your guys in the stock exchange that would go straight to the bar, as much as the Sparkies and Brickies when they finished their building site. You know, it just was almost a cultural thing that people would always go to the pub. But I think that's dying a death a bit now. Again, I'm talking obviously pre and post, hopefully, COVID. But pubs are struggling and have been struggling for a while because they don't have that market that they used to have. You know, when people would just have the pub as being like a social place that everyone would congregate. People don't go as much to pubs as they used to.
I guess that's probably why there's more hybridy places, so where you'd eat as well as some drink. Gastropubs and all that kind of stuff cropped up a lot more than they would have 20, 30 years ago, whatever. Yeah. But yeah, so that's us. We're on the hour.
We're on the hour.
So that's probably a good place to say stop. I guess it would be, I think it would be interesting if anyone would we need to think about getting guests on. I don't know how we do that. I'd like to, it would be good if we could get some, if there's any volunteers out there, drop us a note. But it would be good to get some guests that know what they're talking about with some of the topics we've covered, or that have maybe different perspectives, because this is our reality. We can only talk about our experience, how we try and deal with the circumstances that we're faced with. Which will be different from others, and so it'd be good to maybe get some different perspectives on, see what folk are saying, see how they're coping with the whole general health, fitness, and living with lockdown and anything else. I guess any of the topics we've covered.
And I think just one final thing, what we're trying to do here, we're not trying to claim to be experts in any area in particular. We're not trying to suggest that we make these wholesale changes. We're trying to do little bits. And small little bits are what are going to make a difference in the long run. And you know what, we did this last time about trying to finish up with a quote or some kind of expression, and I've decided in this podcast that's what I'm going to try and do each week, right? So that's going to be my thing. I'm going to find a quote for us. I don't have a quote today, right? But I've got a little story.
It's my thing. I'm going to do a quote every week.
No, it's similar. Because I heard this other day. It's called The Starfish, right?
Okay.
And there was a woman walking along a beach, and there was, something had happened, some storm through the night, and there was thousands of starfish on the beach, all washed up, right? Mm-hmm. And she starts throwing them back into the sea, one by one. And someone walks up past her and says, what are you doing? Why are you throwing all these back? Look, the beach is full. There's thousands of them. You're going to be here for ages. They'll be dead. It's not going to make a difference. And she looked at him and she smiled. And she went down, she picked one more starfish up, and she threw it into the water. And she said, it made a difference to that one.
Yep.
There you go.
Nice.
Do you like it?
Nice way to, I like
so,
it. Yeah. Message.
Every little thing counts. So that's what I'll do next week. I'll try and find another quote for you.
Okay, cool.
That could be my thing. And we're an hour and 2 minutes and we're done. That's a record, so well done.
Record, absolutely. Right, cool. And we'll think of, not sure what our topics could be. We've got a number of options, I guess. Stress, addiction. I think we've written down quite a few others. So we'll have a think about that. We'll not commit to anything. We'll do that next time.
Okay, so nice to speak to you all. Be kind to each other as always, and we'll catch up soon.
Cool. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next time. Cheers, Neil. See you later.
See ya. Bye.